Our information came from Tigrayans who are in Sudan and therefore are able to call family members from Sudanese networks. Why have you cut off all communications from Tigray? We are trying to find out what is going on. The world wants to know. There are reports of serious casualties, but your government has cut off all communications to the area, which looks bad. Why have you done that? And with that, sadly, it appears that the line has gone down. I am sorry, because Dr. Bikila Hurisa, who you heard there from the Federal Prime Minister's office, was actually, we were trying quite hard to establish the line. We've managed to establish the line, as you heard there.
Aid agencies in southeastern Sudan have said an imminent humanitarian disaster is looming if large numbers of refugees flee from fighting in the Ethiopian province of Tigray. Sudanese officials say at least 6,000 Ethiopians have already crossed the border, but they fear the number could swell to more than 200,000 in the coming days.
Now we begin with the security situation in Tigray, the northern regional state in Ethiopia, and concerns that it's getting worse. The state broadcaster in Ethiopia has said that the national armed forces, the federal forces, have killed more than 500 fighters of the TPLF. Now, that is the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, the government that runs the devolved state. The conflict appears to be deepening. Those claims can't be independently verified. It's extremely difficult to get news out of an area where internet and phone communications have been cut. There are reports, however, coming out of deaths on both sides, and also now reports that we're hearing that Eritrea apparently appears to be shelling across its border into Tigray. I'm happy to say that we can speak now to a minister from the Federal Prime Minister's office, Dr. Bikila Hurisa. Hello, Doctor. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Very good. Thank you for bearing with us. We've had a few problems establishing the line. Can I begin by asking about the reports, reliable reports that we've been getting, that the Eritrean forces have started shelling across the border? Eritrea denies it at the moment. Can you tell us what's happening?
Yeah, the law enforcement operation that's going on in Tigray region now is being conducted by the National Defense Force, and there is no any intervention of foreign forces, and including the Eritrean Defense Force. And Eritrea can be a good ally, a good development ally for Ethiopia, but can never to cross the border or accumulate its armed forces around the border with Ethiopia, because Ethiopia is a sovereign country, and our internal problems, internal conflicts can be solved through internal mechanisms, and we don't need any foreign intervention in terms of military operation. And the military operation is taking place only with the Ethiopian National Defense Force.
Okay, well, it's good to get your your understanding of what's happening. I ask because we have spoken to people whose family members have fled Tigray, so have fled Ethiopia into Sudan because, they say, they are being shelled by Eritrean forces. You say that isn't happening. If it is happening, would you now ask the Eritreans not to shell Ethiopia? That's the next step, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, because, you know, Ethiopia is a foreign, sovereign country that doesn't need any intervention. And by no means, and I can assure you that we can request the Eritrean government or Eritrean force not to cross the border. And I am 100% sure currently that no force is shelling the Ethiopian border, and they will never shell the Ethiopian border even in the future.
Now, our information came from Tigrayans who are in Sudan and therefore are able to call family members from Sudanese networks. Why have you cut off all communications from Tigray? We are trying to find out what is going on. The world wants to know. There are reports of serious casualties, but your government has cut off all communications to the area, which looks bad. Why have you done that? And with that, sadly, it appears that the line has gone down. I am sorry, because Dr. Bikila Harissa, who you heard there from the Federal Prime Minister's office, was actually, we were trying quite hard to establish the line. We managed to establish the line, as you heard there. The very important point, he says, that as far as there's concerned, there is absolutely no shelling coming from Eritrea into Ethiopia, into the Tigray region. The next thing we wanted to talk about was what he said the progress of the fighting is. Very hard to independently verify anything that comes out of there. If we manage to re-establish the line, I think we will go back to the doctor as well, because it's important to get their opinion about... sorry, Dr. Bikila Harissa, can you hear me there? Have we managed to re-establish the line? No, I don't think we have. But if we do, what we want to know is we want to know what he has to say about the casualty numbers that are coming out. State broadcaster in Ethiopia says they've killed 550 Tigrayans, so obviously major fighting going on in the area. That was Dr. Bikila Harissa of the Federal Prime Minister's office. A little later, we will be hearing from people whose relatives have fled the area of the fighting as well.
Most in the long and very costly in blood and treasure war with Eritrea. So there's also a sense of probably grievance in that since Abiy's come to power, they feel targeted by new personnel choices, by new policy choices, what maybe others in Ethiopia see as a rebalancing. The Tigrayans can often feel like persecution despite the tremendous sacrifices that they have made for the country.
There are reports from Tigray of an Ethiopian air campaign, heavy bombardment at times. I mean, what's at stake here as far as you can tell, Ambassador? Is it a possible civil war between Tigrayans and Ethiopian troops, or is Tigray saying, we've had enough, we want independence? I mean, how should we interpret what's going on?
We should absolutely be worried about a civil war, which I don't think would necessarily be contained just to the Tigray region, given all of the other tensions and actors. So what's at stake? The well-being of over 110 million Ethiopians, regional stability. Conflict in Ethiopia has a very high chance of drawing in Eritrea, Sudan, and tipping the balance of Sudan's own very fragile transition. Ethiopia is an incredibly important actor in trying to bring stability to Somalia, to South Sudan. A distracted and weakened Ethiopia is really quite devastating to this entire Horn region, which is strategically really significant. And there are a lot of actors external to Africa, from the Gulf, the Chinese, and from the West, all of whom care deeply about stability in this region. So the prospect of drawing others in, of proxy conflict, it's really a powder keg. And the consequence will not be confined solely to what's happening inside Ethiopia's borders.
Michelle Gavin, Senior Fellow for Africa Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations. She also served as ambassador to Botswana from 2011 to 14. Ambassador Gavin, thank you very much.
Thank you.
تدننا قوبز عشاد يمسل فقر ماري تنبر بسر زنبر حقي حزب سر زنبر سبق تقرأي كل عالكلو تتلعيلو زعك تودلو سبق تقرأي كل عالكلو تتلعيلو زعك تودلو وبقص تقرأي كل عالكلو تتلعيلو زعك تودلو زعتو دلو زمكسو دلو تتلعيلو عيالي خيلو ولا سيبولن عضل تقنفيلو عقاتي بولن وين تتلعيلو جيقنا جيقنا هزم تقرأي ونا بهزم تقرأي بركيلو حيال كمان بسا نسخانو وين اتحساب بعال مدقل حقنيا ناي حاقر نسخانو ناي حاقرنا ماقر بعال حدري ناي تقداموت تبت بحجم وتعاو بركيلو حيال كمان بساب نسخانو وين اتحساب بركيلو حيال كمان بركليلو حيال كمان بسا بسخانو شيدان اي كنيسا ودو جيغناندو ودو جيغناندو 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 ودو جيغناندو ودو جيغناندو 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 بركيلو حيال كمان بسا نسخانو وين ايت حساب بعال متكل حقنيا ناي حاجر نسخانو ناي حاجرنا ماجر بعال حدري ناي تقداموت تبت بحجبوت بتعو بركيلو حيال كمان بسا نسخانو وين ايت حساب بركيلو حيال كمان بسا نسخانو شيدان ايت حساب بركيلو حيال كمان بسا نسخانو شيدان ايت حساب ودو جيغناندو ودو جيغناندو 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 ودو جيغناندو ودو جيغناندو 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 بركليلو حيال كمان بسا أبو طبعي أبو عقلي ويني تحيسا 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 ويني أنبسا 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 شرمي تحيسا وين بعالكيا سراحي مسنك بعد الربع وقت بسر أذنب تمت دنبرج أيوكا جغنا حزب تقرأي زفرح يكونن شب 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 بركليلو حيال كمان بسا أبو طبعي أبو عقلي ويني تحيسا 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 ويني أنبسا 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 شرمي تحيسا وين بعالكيا سراحي مسنك بعد الربع وقت بسر أذنب تمت دنبرج أيوكا جغنا حزب تقرأي زفرح يكونن شب 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 وين بعالكيا سراحي مسنك بعد الربع وقت بسر أذنب تمت دنبرج أيوكا جغنا حزب تقرأي زفرح يكونن شب 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 شب